Okay. Um, Folks, thank you so much for joining me today for this session on our enrichment offering for Summer Rising 2025. My name is Santi Karasami. If anybody's attended one of our PDs in the past, feel free to let me know in the chat. I started this company called Project Recess, started about 10 years ago, and we've been supporting New York schools primarily in leveraging technology tools, mainly Google tools for teaching and learning. We started this long before Google Classroom. I remember we were starting when this thing called Google Docs came out, and here we are offering these sessions on things such as AI-powered comics and storytelling. So as we're waiting for people to join, I know we had a bunch of people sign up for this recently. Let's utilize the chat. Please, if you feel inclined, please put in the chat, what's one of your favorite movies? Please add it to the chat. We have some images here. Indiana Jones, if you're a fan of that. That still in the middle is from Up. That makes everyone cry if you're a human being. And then Shawshank Redemption. I know a lot of people like that. All right. Awesome. Yeah, please feel free to put in the chat what one of your favorite movies is. Let's see what we have here. Amadeus, very nice. Thank you. Royal Tenenbaums, cool. Dream Girls, thank you. Sophie, that is also my favorite movie. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Absolutely one of my favorite movies. Thank you. Indiana Jones, Matrix, Friday. Okay, awesome. Top Gun. Awesome. Very cool. I love asking this question. Just in general, I love knowing what people's favorite movies are. And I wanted to begin it this way just to get us in this mindset of storytelling. These movies, they speak to us because they tell stories that move us in one way. And so that's related to the topic of what we're going over today, which is AI-powered comics and storytelling. So essentially, we have created a series of lessons designed for students grade 4 to 6. I know some people had some questions when they were registering for this, how this can be modified for younger students. So the resources we put out, it's a living document. We're going to continue to refine and make sure that it's meeting the needs of the teachers and educators and students. So we will be adding more offline activities, and what I mean by that is, if you're working with younger students, grades kindergarten through 3, and you don't want to use a computer, which I almost suggest that you don't use a computer, we'll have resources on there on doing it old school, using a piece of paper to draw comics. And so everything that we have in there, and I'll click this link that'll take us to the website. So this website should be shared with everybody, and there's some getting started videos with how to use Canva. We've decided to use Canva and just focus exclusively on that, so all the resources are the same. You could use Adobe Express if you're more familiar with that. They work very similarly, but for the purpose of this, we decided to focus on Canva. Every teacher has access to it. I believe the students have access to it too. And here's the scope and sequence that we added to it, some slides that accompany it. But what I was mentioning before, any of these lessons, any of these topics, you can take and modify to be an offline activity, or even if you want to do that with older students, where you wanted to just like have them get out some paper and write, all of this content will translate over into that. For example, kindness, creating a comic about kindness using different bubble styles. Unit 3, day 3, you can mix and match. If you wanted to, do unit 6 on day 2, it's up to you. We designed this where teachers have complete freedom over this. I know the summer can, you might have a structure or a plan. Sometimes you want to move things around. We designed to keep that in mind. You can definitely go out of sequence on that, although we do recommend starting with unit 1, just so you understand how to use the tools. And I'll be going over how to use these tools during this session. But yeah, you can take any of these, the environment, a funny moment, you can take that and do it offline using paper, pencils, crayons, markers, etc. Yes, yeah, sure, I can, sure, I'll put the website in there. I'll put it in the chat. Here we go. And then I'll pin that as well. People are still adding movies. Thank you so much for adding those movies. If anybody has any questions, feel free to add them in the chat, or if you want to unmute, that's fine. There's not too many people here. I would love to keep this as open and conversational as possible. So again, this is the website. We're going to continue to add to it as the summer goes. We're going to make sure that if you have a question, if you want us to update something, send us an email. I'll share my email with everybody. It's the same email that you got the calendar invite from. And we just want to make sure that this works for you as educators. I'm not going to play these videos. They're short, though. Each video is like around 7 minutes, but this is like it's made by Canva, this specific video here, student friendly, and it does a really great job going over how to make a comic using Canva. Link is not working. Uh-oh, hold on. Let's check this out one more time. That should be working. It should be working. Hold on. Eduardo, link didn't work. Okay. Let me fix this real time. All right, let's see why it's not working. So this is it right here. Published settings. Everything looks okay. Okay. Apologies if it's not working. I'll make sure to look at it after this call. Okay, so apologies again if it's not working. I will I'll make sure it works. So after this call, I'll go ahead and check. Thank you so much for letting me know. All right, so we'll just look at my shared screen in the meantime. But this should work actually. The scope and sequence, and so I'll okay. Leslie beat me to it. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna double check and make sure all of this works once I get off the call. But from here on out, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the tools. So even if you don't have access to the website, this will still work. All right. So let's proceed. So as I mentioned, we designed it so most of the online activities you will do with your students using Canva. Feel free to use the emoji button, thumbs up if you've used Canva before. There's like a little smiley face up there. Or down there. Okay, I think we have some Canva users here. All right, thank you so much. Okay, good, wonderful. So if you use Canva, you know how powerful it is as a tool. If you've not used Canva, it's pretty simple to use. It's pretty user friendly. Essentially, Canva is a website that helps you design things, so you can make things like posters, brochures, comics, things like that. So many people are not inherently designers, but Canva has wonderful templates and a lot of tools to help you design things. And it's the same thing with your students also. They can design things on here. So again, I'm logged in with my @schools account, my demo account. So whatever you see me doing, you have access to. So this is what you would do if you wanted to, do this enrichment lesson with your students. You jump on Canva, and then we want to search for comic strip template panel. I want to add panel on there because it does a better job filtering what's on there. So in that search bar, comic strip panel or template panel, if you want to follow along with me and do it, feel free also. So you hit enter, and then you have a bunch of these templates here that you can use. So a lot of them are blank. These are blank right here. These specific ones I'm a big fan of, because as you see the screen moving here, all of the pictures are in there already, which is pretty cool. Your blank templates here, you have a lot, as you can see. So you're not starting from scratch. So I'm looking for a specific one here. I'll start with this one. I'll use this as an example. Green Panda illustration 4 panel comic strip. So I'm going to click customize this template. So it brought me here. Okay, so as a teacher, you would see this, your students would see this, and all of these elements are interactive. Okay, so you can update this title. Maybe I want to call it Hungry. Okay, and then you have these 2 characters here, and again, you can choose whatever template you want. And then if you look at the bottom down here, you have different pages. And so again, this template was made by Canva. You have this 4-panel comic, and when I say panel, I mean these little squares right over here. Panels is explained in the curriculum that I shared with y'all. So if I click on the resource page, you have all of these different like faces, talk bubbles, some elements like in this particular one, bamboo, and then you have the pandas here. And then you have an example of a finished comic. So it's, I like these templates because it has everything, right? So let's say you wanted to create a simple 3-panel comic. All right, so right now it's 4. Could easily just delete one. So you can just select one and delete. All right. So then you have these comics. And before you get to this stage, of course, you're talking to your students and you're figuring out like what is the idea behind the comic that you want to use or that you want to create. So, you know, looking back at the scope and sequence here, let's say we want to do kindness. Okay, I can create a comic about kindness using different bubble styles. Let's say we wanted to focus on that. So let's go back to Canva. And so you would have a brainstorm session with your students. Like they would take out their papers and they would think about how these characters would interact with each other. And then I know, you know, AI is a big part of this process here, and you can use that at your discretion. You know, I am a proponent of using AI to help generate ideas and everything, but at the same time, you know, I don't want myself or any of the teachers that I work with or students to be over reliant on it. And so like, I will show you how to use AI, but at the same time, you don't have to. You can do that. You have complete freedom on how you approach this. If you did want to use AI to help with the idea, like the brainstorm process, we all have access to this thing called Gemini now. Let me start a new chat. So if you're at this point, I think everyone has heard of ChatGPT. Gemini is essentially Google's version of that. And that was recently enabled for every teacher in New York City, which is huge. You can use this to help you create lesson plans, everything, etc. Students don't have access to this, only teachers. So how would you use this with your kids? If you know, let's say you had your computer projected onto the screen, you could have a class brainstorm session. And so it could look like this. You know, generate lines between 2 pandas for a 3-panel comic strip for kids. Make the theme about kindness. All right, so again, generate lines between 2 pandas for a 3-panel comic strip for kids. Make the theme about kindness. So again, you could have your computer projected onto the screen if you have those resources available, because students don't have access to Gemini, only teachers. And then it'll generate some ideas that you could use, right? So 2 pandas sitting under a bamboo tree. What happened to your favorite bamboo? It broke. I can't play my favorite game. That's not that fun. Oh wait, panel 2, you know, don't worry, I can fix anything. And then the other panda fixed it. Fine. If you didn't like that, look, you could do this. You know, generate, you know, 5 more ideas. Okay, so you could iterate back and forth. You could have, if all your students are looking at the screen, you can have them add some things in there. And when it's, I feel like that's a pretty interesting way to integrate generative AI with your students in a whole classroom environment where you're going back and forth like that. Okay, so, and then you can have your students rate each one. Maybe they like it, thumbs up, maybe they don't, thumbs down. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could integrate AI that way. I'm going to switch back to Canva over here. So you have your elements. How do you add some text? Very similar to using something like Google Slides or even, you know, Google Docs. You have your options here on the left. I'm just going to hover over my text icon. You have a bunch of different styled text, but I'm just going to add a text box. So it's over here, and you could move this around, change the sizing. So let's say, you know, I'm hungry. Very hard to see. I'm going to increase the size. And so again, you know, you would give your students time. They can write on there in their journals like what the lines would be, or maybe they can just write directly on the computer if you wanted to. So you have that. And then now this is the interesting one, right? Like you have this other panel, but nothing's in it. And so the beauty of copy and paste. So you can highlight these elements, and if you hold down the shift key on your keyboard, you can select more than one element. All right, so I just held down shift and just selected these elements. Control C, Control V, move it over. Okay, and this is all explained in the curriculum that I've shared with y'all. So I'm hungry, and look, the the facial expressions are not there. You're gonna have to copy those also, and just move those over. Same thing with this one, and you can also change it to be a different facial expression if you wanted to. All right. Now I would like the other panda to talk. So as I mentioned before, you have a bunch of different talk bubbles on this bottom page right over here. So you can just select one. All right. So I'll just copy that, click back here, paste. Oh, I'm glad I made this mistake. So this bubble is the same color as the background, so you can't see it. All right. So you can just click on that, easily go up here and change the color to something else, make it white. And when you're working with talk bubbles, obviously you want to make sure that this little arrow is facing the mouth of the character. That's part of the lessons that is explored in that in the resources there. So again, like, that this panda is talking because this talk bubble has this little curve right here, and so you can explain that to the students that's in there as well. So what will this guy say? I'm hungry. I'm just going to copy that text, paste this in here. Me too. All right. And then so same thing. We want this to be 3 panels. So we're just copying the pandas here, and this thing that they're sitting on, copy and paste. Oops, I got the faces, but not the actual panda bodies. Let's do that again. So copy the pandas, the faces. And so if I wanted to change up the expressions, you can click that. And again, I like that there are different like flavors of this template, like different animals and all that, but they do have these different expressions too. So I don't know, that's a face that looks happy. So we'll copy that. The sizing is going to be off, so you're going to want to resize it. Okay. And so you can just, whenever you click on an element, you'll get this bounding box around it with these corners. You just click on the corners and drag it in. All right. So I'll just copy and paste that. So we have our comic here. And then what should our friends say together? Again, copy and paste this. We want to make sure that the color is visible. All right. This is a knee slapping comment here. Let's share bamboo. All right. And so again, you would just resize it. I would resize the bubble, make it bigger. And then I think there were some bamboo here, so you could copy that element. Kind of blends in with it. You could change the color too. Maybe make it brown. Okay, so that's very quickly how you could utilize this, make a comic that's related to a theme. So again, 22 days on there, different ideas on how to integrate it. The process is all going to be similar. If you wanted to use AI, you could. I'm going to pause. Any questions right now on that process? Okay. Oh yes, yeah. Question, Joanna. Did you have a question?
How did you get to this template?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I'll start from the beginning here. So once you're in Canva, so again, you're in your @schools account. You go to canva.com/education. So you're taking here, you sign in. You can click on the Canva icon here. So here you are at your home screen. So how did I find that template? You just search it right here. So I searched comic strip template, and I added the word panel in there just to filter it out a little bit. And then they all populate. So you just scroll down and find the one that you want. So even if you're a student, you can go down, maybe you wanted to make something that I'm going to click on this one. I know it's different, but again, like this was created by the Canva Creative Studio. And what I like about these, you have like the resources here. So if a student or a teacher wanted to use this one, you have your panels, but then you have like, this cat in different poses and different elements there. And then you have an example of what a finished comic could look like. So you just search. So I scroll down and yeah, there's one, our two panda friends right over here. So I just clicked on that, and then you would click customize. It would open up a new tab, and then you would go ahead and do that. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, and also, do the students have access to this? How do they log in to be able to do all of this? Or should I create like some sort of a classroom in Canva?
You can just go to, I believe they can just go to canva.com and have access to this. Leslie, I'm not sure if it is in TeachHub. I know Adobe Express is in TeachHub, but I think I had a conversation with Canva like a few months ago, and they were like trying to get on TeachHub. I don't think it's on there. Let's see. I'm on TeachHub right now. So Adobe Express is here. I don't see Canva, unfortunately. So you might have to just like manually open up a new tab and type canva.com. But again, if you did want to use Adobe Express, they're both very similar platforms. I think the advantage of using Adobe Express is that it's in TeachHub. You can just like click that. But students should have access to Canva just by going to it manually. But it's the same thing. If you're using Adobe Express, search for content here, comic strip template panel. All right, and see, very similar. And even the workflow is similar. You just click on like the different elements. But I've not seen templates in Adobe Express where they have all of the resources in there already. So like, oh, well, never mind. This one does. This one has 2 pages. It's kind of different with the layout. So it's up to you. You have different, oops. Yeah, see, so this one has different options here. Not as much, but it depends on the template that you choose. So again, it's really up to you. You have different options on how to do this. So let's say you have this template in Canva, you make the comment. Now what do you do with it? So you have different options. There's a share option up here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just checking the chat here. You have to go through Clever. Okay. Just so I'm clear, so Marianne, you're saying students can have access to Canva by going through Clever under summarizing?
Yes, so when they go into TeachHub,
okay.
they'll click on Clever. The icon is there. If you click on summarizing, Clever is there.
Okay.
Click on that, and then it'll come up.
Maybe it's different because I'm not a student, but for them it would show up here. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, folks. So let's have your students do that. If you want them to access Canva, you would go to the TeachHub and then summarizing. Thank you so much for that clarification. Okay. Switching back here. So again, you can go piecemeal through the curriculum, have your students focus on different themes throughout the week using these comics. And if you wanted to share this, there's a share button up here. You would click on it. You can download it. You can put it in Google Classroom. There's a link, publicly view that link. So if I click on that, create public link view, I'm going to hit copy. What does that look like? I'll put it in the chat if you wanted to see what this looks like on the other side. But keep in mind that this particular one, this is shared also, the different resources pages. So make sure that you delete those if you want to share it out. And if you wanted the 3 to just be in one single line, you could do that too. You just got to resize it. What do I mean by that? So if I highlight this entire box, you can make it smaller just to fit all of them on the same line. Again, you have complete creative freedom with how you want this to look. See, and as you can see, as I'm moving this around, you see these like 0.7 and all these lines. Those are guides that are built in to make sure that your boxes are aligned with one another. So you could do it like that too. Okay, so it's slightly off. Any questions on that? If not, then I'm gonna switch to a different tool to see how we can animate this for storytelling. Okay, so we have this here. We have our 3-panel comic. If you wanted to like build on this and you wanted to, let's say, make this sort of like an interactive like movie, or even adding music behind it, how would we do that? All right, so we would use, and I'm gonna go back to my slide deck real quickly. So I just went over how to create a comic in Canva. The next thing is like really going into this idea of visual storytelling, but using something called Google Vids. Thumbs up in the chat if you've used Google Vids before, if you've even heard of it before. It's a very new tool. If you've not heard of it, that's fine. This was recently released to New York City teachers like a few months ago. So what is Google Vids? It's essentially a video editing tool, a free video editing tool that was made by Google. Think about using Google Slides. Okay, can't access it through Clever. All right, and I'm sorry to hear that. I'll send me an email and I'll see if I can find some information about that. But if you're having trouble accessing it, please send me a message. Thank you. So Google Vids, think about it as Google Slides, but the ability to add like motion to it. So it's essentially a video editor online linked to your DOE Google account, and you can animate things, which is pretty interesting. So how do you get to Google Vids? As you can see here, vids.google.com, or even in your Google Drive, you can go to Drive, New Vids, which is interesting. So what can you do in Vids? You can make storyboards, you can do voiceovers. So this is free for everyone. At the same time, your school does have an option to purchase like an extra like Google AI license if you wanted more AI features. Like there's like an AI voiceover. It's all pretty neat and interesting, but you could do a lot with the free version anyway. But just keep that in mind if you wanted more AI features with your Google Vids or like Google account in general. Schools can buy individual licenses for teachers to have that. I think it's like $100 a year or something like that. But I'll focus on the free version. So Google Vids, I'm going to open up a new tab. So as I said, you could go to vids.google.com. You can't see my menu bar, but it's vids.google.com. Okay. And you're taken to this page right over here. And so I'll show you, I worked on one already. I'll show you what it looks like. So here we are, we have our 3 panda friends. And I've taken each panel, I downloaded it as an individual slide. And as you can see, there's like a timeline here. And if I hit play, did you all hear the music? Thumbs up. Okay. And the audible gasp too. Jose, thanks for the thumbs up. So this is Google Vids. I'm gonna play it one more time. So there's a timeline here. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the space bar. So that music, if you've never edited a video before, they're all pretty much organized like this. It's considered a nonlinear editing tool. You don't have to remember that term, but essentially how that works when you're editing video, you have like different tracks, right? So the first track, the first horizontal track is your video track. You at least have one, you can have multiple. So this track just has the comic images. And then the next track is the audio track. It's the music, this jazz music here. That's what this blue line is down here. And then this third track is that gasp. And all of these elements, that this jazz cafe music, that sound effect of the gasp, that's all built into Google Vids. And so this is another way to bring your comics to life, to focus on this idea of storytelling. So how would we do this? I'll start from the beginning. So again, you can go to vids.google.com, or as I mentioned, if you are in your Google Drive, you can go to new, and you can make a new vid from here, which is interesting. All right. Oops, nobody saw that because I wasn't sharing my screen. I love when that happens. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. You can also create a new vid by being in your Google Drive. If you click on new, all the usual suspects, you can make a doc sheet, etc. But there's a new option here called Vids. Again, this was just released to all New York City teachers like a few months ago. Many people don't even know that you have access to this. So you click on that and it creates this. So this is your interface when you want to make a new Google vid. So you can record your screen, you can upload an existing video, you can start with a template. They're pretty cool templates. This is interesting. You can import Google Slides. So maybe you have a like a lesson plan or like a slideshow, and you can animate that into a video here. For this, I'm just going to create a blank vid just to give folks an idea what that looks like. So I'm going to hit that. So this is your canvas here when you're using Google Vids. As you can see, it looks very similar to Google Slides, which is great because the learning curve is not that high. We know how to use Google Slides. So we need to bring our Panda friends in here. If you're like me, you have a million tabs open. I need to find them. Here they are. All right. So here are our Panda friends. So, oh wait, that's not it. I need the Canva one. Here it is. I found them. Okay. So I have my Canva tab with my with the friends there. So what I've found to be the best way to do this, I'm going to go down and I'm just going to add a page. All right. So now I have a blank page. I'm going to go back to the 3 panel and I'm going to just drag and highlight that first panel. I'm going to copy it, go to my blank page and paste it in there. All right. I'm going to zoom out and I'm just going to make this bigger. Okay. I'll drag it to a corner and then just make it bigger. All right. So I have this here and like, yes, there's some white space down there. I'll just leave it, or actually I'll extend. That's fine. Yeah, there's some white space down here. I'm just going to leave it. If you want to, you can color it in. It's not that difficult. So that's the first one. I'm going to make another page, same process. I'm going to go back to my 3 panel, just highlight everything, copy it, go to the blank one, paste, drag it to the corner, extend it out so it's bigger. Okay. And then same thing for the last panel. Make a new page, highlight, copy, paste it in there, move it to the corner, make it big. All right, now I want to download each one of those comics as an individual file, just so I can put it in Vids. All right, so again, how do we do that? Share. So this is page 4, 5, and 6. I can click share. I'm going to click download. And so this is interesting. This interface is interesting. It's essentially the interface you see when you print something. Select pages 1 through 6. I actually want, and you can do this one at a time, right? So maybe that's best. So I'll click on page 4. and you can leave the settings as is. I'll download that. Okay. Next, I'm going to click on number 5, download current page. And then you would do that for the 6th one. So I'm going to go ahead, click on that, share, download current page. So again, the interface is similar to like a print dialog. All right, got it. So I have the pandas there. They should be, okay, they're on my desktop. So now I'm going to go back to Google Vids. Okay, so here I am in Vids. You know, it's good practice. Give your video a name. Panda comic movie. And so now I want to import that. So how would we do that? So this, when you're using Google Slides, you know, this is a slide. Since this is Google Vids, it's called a scene. All right, makes sense. It says here, new scene. So if I click on that, it's going to make a new scene here, right? And I can add things to this. So I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so I have 3 blank scenes. I want to add my content to that. If I go to insert, I can click upload. All right, and then I would find the first one. See, there it is. And then you can make it bigger also. But I'm just going to leave it as is and just move it to the center. Oops. Okay, so I have that first panel. So same thing. I have my blank scene, insert, upload. I'm going to get the second one. Oh, whoops. The mistake I made was I had the first scene selected. You got to select the blank scene. So insert, upload, choose the image. There it is. And then same thing. So don't make the same mistake I did. Make sure you click on the blank scene, insert, upload, and choose that final one. Okay. So right now, this comic strip, as you can see, these numbers move as I scrub the timeline. This is 15 seconds long. Each scene is 5 seconds. That's a little lengthy. So if I hit play, you know, you're watching this for 5 seconds. That's a little lengthy. If you wanted to shorten that, you would just click on the scene, move your mouse to the corner here, and just drag it in. And as you can see, those little numbers are getting smaller. So maybe I want this to be 3 seconds. So same thing with this. Right now it's 5. All right, just move your mouse to the end. It's 3. And don't worry, if you're not taking notes, that's fine. I'm recording this session. I'll share it out with everybody to reference again in the future. All right, so again, click on the end, make it 3 seconds. So that's a little bit more manageable now. If I click on this and hit play, okay, so I'm hungry, me too, and then let's share Bamboo. Okay, in the example I shared, there was music in the background. How do we do that? Make it a little bit more exciting. So if we look at the left side over here, there's different elements that we can add. And this is interesting. There's something called stock and web. So if I click on that, there's a lot of different like stock footage in here, videos, images. This is all really great content if you want to make a movie. There's a drop down right here when you search, and you want to search for music. Okay, so it's great that that's in there. And so here's the first one, Jazz Cafe. Did people hear that? Yes. Okay. Thank you. And you have so many to choose from here. These are all, you know, different, you know, like soundtracks that you can add to enhance or add to the like feeling of your, you know, of your comic. It adds this idea of storytelling. Music can add suspense or what have you. So what's feel good sound like? All this is like very loud also. I'm gonna put that one in there. Sandro Pay Tech House. That makes sense. So I'm gonna click right here. There's a plus. It says insert audio, and so oh, look what happened. I'm glad this happened. So it added it where my timeline was, and so this whole area behind it doesn't have music. It starts from here, which is what I don't want. So thankfully, there's an undo button up at the top. and then I'm going to move the playhead all the way to the beginning. All right, I'm glad that happened. I can show you that. So the playhead's at the beginning. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to click insert audio. It added it to the bottom, and this audio is longer than the clip. And so if you click on the outside of it, sometimes it'll delete itself, but this time it's not. Let's see. So if I click, oh, okay. All right, so sometimes it automatically trims. And so, yeah, so that audio was longer than the video, than the scenes, but once I clicked on the scene, it automatically trimmed it, which works for me. So what does that sound like? Apologies if this is gonna be too loud. All right, so again, if it's too loud, you can double click on the sound and you get this here, this, I'm gonna do it one more time. If I click on the sound, double click on it, or actually, okay, you click on the sound, you click on this icon sound, and then you have this, these options here. So I'm gonna bring this down 45%. Let's try it one more time. Okay. Yeah, higher than that. Much more manageable. And then last thing I wanna do, there was that gasp in there when this panda found out that his bamboo was eaten. Oh, actually, this is a different one. I'll choose a different sound effect. So you move your playhead where you want it. You go to stock again, and instead of music, you want sound effects. And so I'm just gonna search cheer, and these are the different cheers. So I'm gonna play this one. Works for me. So I'm gonna click on that plus, adds it to the bottom. What does this masterpiece sound like from the beginning? This pumping music for bamboo and pandas. All right, so there's that. You can also extend this like cheering if you wanted, but that's it. And then, so once you have that, now what do you do with it? File, you can export it to your Google Drive, or you can download it as an MP4. All right, so, and then you can share that. You can put it on YouTube, or you can put it on your Google Classroom page, what have you. But these two tools are super powerful. Google Vids, in addition to making comics, you can make a welcome video for your school. That's one of the templates. A lot of things. And then we went over Canva on how to use these resources to build a comic. And yes, you could also use Adobe Express if you wanted also. So that was a lot. That was a lot of content. But again, the scope and sequence has different themes that you can focus on. At this point, does anybody have any questions on how any of that worked? Does anybody want me to go over any of these aspects again?
Hello.
Hello.
I just missed that one part when you completed it.
Yeah.
You went to file and then
Yes.
to share it on as a link or.
Yes. As I'm pulling this up, I appreciate your thumbs up to let me know that like the audio is coming through. So thank you. So when it's done, you can go to file, and then there's different ways. If you download it as an MP4, you'll have a video file, and then you can do anything you want with that. You can put that on YouTube. You can put it on Google Drive. You can, email it to somebody if it's not too big, or you can directly export it to Drive. That's one of the benefits of using this tool. It's already integrated with our Google account for New York City schools. So you could export this to your Google Drive and then share that with whomever. So those are the two main ways. Or you can share like the actual vid file with like people in your school, and then students and teachers could be collaborative about it. I didn't even talk about that aspect of it. So Google Docs really revolutionized how we work, right? Because now we can have multiple people working on the same document, and that idea has transformed everything. And so that idea of real-time collaboration is built into Vids. I used to edit a lot of videos back in the day, and it was not that collaborative at all because you couldn't share like this. You would need to physically send the tape to somebody, and then they would work on it, and it was very long, difficult process. This is way easier. So if you had a group project, you can have multiple students sharing, shared in on a Google Vid file, and they can make it their own. And I believe that the same thing can be said for Canva as well. There's a share button here, and then yeah, you can share with like other people from your organization also. So that's really cool. You can share that. So once again, when you're done with your vid, file, download it as an MP4 or export it to Drive. Okay. Wonderful question. Any other questions? Oh, yes, Leslie.
Oh, I put it in the comments. I just wanted you to go over it again when you're done with the comic and Canva, how you import it into Google Vid.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I'll go over that right now. So let me find my friends here. Okay. So the I guess like the challenge is when you have your 3-panel here, it's all together in one file, right? And so Vids works best when you have these as individual files. And so there's different ways to do this. I mean, honestly, you could also like take a screenshot of that. Like I'm on a Mac right now, so I could, select screenshot and just download it that way. I can take a screenshot. But if you wanted to do everything within Canva, I created a new page down here. Okay, so a new blank page. You just click on that plus, and then you go back to where your 3-panel is, and then you just click and drag to make sure you're selecting everything in that first panel, and then you're gonna copy it. So I'm just gonna, Command C, Control C, what have you, and then you go back to that blank page, and then you paste it in, Control V. It's too small, so you have to make it bigger, and the easiest way to make it the size of this blank screen is just move it to the corner, and then make sure everything's still selected. As you can see, there's a purple box around all the elements, and then click on the corner and just drag it out. Okay. If you forget to highlight everything, let's say I just selected just that, our friends stay little. Okay, so you want to make sure that you can do Command A, or just again select everything and then just drag it out. Okay, and so once it's large like this, you click share. And so when you click share, you have a bunch of different options, and then you want to download. I know it's a lot of steps. I'll make sure this is all documented in the resources, but you got to click download, and then you want to make sure that you're not selecting all, you're just selecting that current page. Otherwise you would have everything on there. So then when you select that current page, you hit done, download it, and then it just saves it to your computer or your Chromebook if you're using that. And then you would go back to Vids, and if you would make a new scene down here, and then insert, upload, and then you would choose that image right over there. Okay, so it's a lot of steps, depending on how old your kids are. Some might be better than others. Again, all of these can be done offline. I mean, the output will be different. If you're writing on paper, of course, it depends on like how good the child is at drawing, but there's something to be said about drawing also. So, but that was a good question. Thank you so much for that.
Is there a way, is there a way to scan a physical drawing and put it into the Vids?
I love that question. Yes, absolutely. And what's funny is that like nobody really scans anymore. Like when's the last time like somebody
I
bought
do.
Yeah, God bless, because like it's way better quality. But what you can do in addition to scanning, you could like take a picture if you had like a digital camera or even a phone. But let's say you had a scanner. So yeah, let's say you're working with 2nd graders. They're drawing their comics. I would make sure you had just like one image on the scan. You would put it in your scanner, and then you just want a digital image. That's it. So you would get that digital image. Same process. After you scan it, you got to put it on the student's computer so you could share it with them via Google Drive or Classroom or what have you. Insert, upload, same thing. You would choose your digital scan. The same process. And I actually think that would look really great. So then you would have the scanned hand-drawn comic but then you would have the sound effects, the music track behind it. And then, if you keep on with this during summer, you could have like a showcase at the end of Summer Rising or at the end of the week, however you want it.
I'm sorry, just one more,
Please, yeah.
because you said, I come from a graphic arts background, so I
Yeah.
do, like the old saying was, the further you get away from the original, the less quality you have. You just kind of confirmed that that's even true with digital. So if I have a scanner on my phone, is that better than just taking a picture?
It all depends. It depends on how that drawing was created, because sometimes the scanner might get a higher resolution scan of it than taking a picture, because when you're taking a picture, it also depends on the lighting. It depends on like the angle that you're taking, the shadows, etc. So actually, if you do have a scanner, that's the best way to get that image. And then again, depending on how old your students are, if you do get that scan and it is like a little bit degraded because of that process, now like every student and teacher has access to like the Adobe tools. Again, like this is for older kids, but you can go in and bump up the contrast, modify the saturation, etc. Now we're getting really into like digital media manipulation, but there's ways. But if you do have access to a scanner, I still think that's the best way to get an image from like a drawing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. Oni, did you have your hand raised?
Yes, I had a similar question.
Yeah.
So before you mentioned, because you're on a Mac, so we have the snippet. So if I were to go to Canva, did snippets, and it goes into my screenshots folder in my computer,
Yeah,
I can just go file and just insert it instead of having to do all those steps.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah. And if it depends on what you're more comfortable doing. If you're more comfortable doing that, it is quicker. Then yeah, absolutely. Because it's just the purpose is just isolate that image and get it out of Canva. So if you're adept at using the snippet tool, by all means, you can do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions? I'll thank you for your time here. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit, but also I know I mentioned CTLE hours. If some folks were interested, I'm gonna put a link to the CTLE form. It looks like this. I'm just gonna put it in the chat for 1 hour of CTLE. If anybody's interested, I'm just gonna pin it there. If not, that's fine. But this has been fun. Thank you everybody for your attention, for your time. So again, I'm gonna make sure that website is accessible to everyone. I'm not sure why it's given that 404 error message. Apologies. I'll revisit that, make sure it's working for everybody. And yeah, I'll ensure that the offline activities are on there too, but it's designed to use at your discretion. I know summer can be everything. So if you wanted to give your kids an opportunity to dabble in comics and even video making, I think that'd be pretty cool. All right. So I'll share the recording out with everybody. Thank you again. I'm here if you have any questions. If not, have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Are you
Oh,
gonna sorry.
there's a
Are you
feedback.
gonna re-email the link, that we opened earlier that wasn't found?
Which one? Oh yeah, for the website.
The one with your presentation.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I have everybody who registered for this, and I'm taking attendance on here, so I'll follow up with everybody. And
Okay.
and Lisa, thank you so much. Yeah, if you could please fill out the feedback form.
Yes.
The link's in the chat. It looks like this. Yeah, please take a minute. Let's take a minute right now if you have a moment, please, and answer this feedback form.
Okay.
Thank you. And again, I'm here if anybody has any questions about any of these tools here.
Hi, I was wondering if you could post the scope and sequence or where we could get that. You had mentioned it before.
Yes. Here it is.
Thank you.
Yep. just put it in the, I just put it in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, was there another question, Joanna?
Hi, are you gonna send us the link to a video of how to do all of the things you showed us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm gonna follow up with everyone on the call, and like even folks that didn't have a chance to make it who registered. I'll send you the slide deck, the recording to this, and then all the resources that I went over. I'll follow up with everybody. And I'll also embed the recording to this in the website. So if a teacher didn't have a chance to see this, they can re-watch the recording if they wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Anyone else? Any other questions? Yeah, Tracy?
The
Tracy?
CPLC hours, it says the school, your school name. Do I put the regular school that I'm at during the school year, or is it the Summer Rising site that I'm at this moment?
That's a good question. Let's do the summarizing location that you're at.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So yeah, please let me know if you have other questions. If you are gonna, we're leading not one, but two other sessions today. The one after this is about the computer science curriculum that we're also offering as enrichment. And then the last one is music production. Also an enrichment option. So I think some people registered for all three. So we're gonna be hanging out with each other for a little bit. Thank you for that. Thank you for that support. And if you have any questions, let me know. If not, have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody. And I'll hang out for a few minutes if you're filling out your feedback form. Thank you.
We have another session. We stay in the same link, right?
Oh, it's actually a different link. Thank you for that question. Yeah. So if you register for this, you should have gotten an email from me with a different, so like 3 different
Link.
offerings. Yeah, each one has a
Yeah,
different.
that sounds good. Just because you mentioned, oh, if you like doing the second one, so we're gonna stick together for like a long, another time. So I thought, I was like, oh, let me make sure.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I guess I
Okay,
missed.
so I'll see you on the next link.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yes. If you are attending all three, we will be spending time together, but in different Google Meets. And yeah, you should have received it. Let me know if you need the join info for those sessions. I can put it in the chat as well. But if you registered for even one, you should have gotten the link to all of the other sessions. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna stop the recording.
I have a question.
Oh yes, please.
For the CTLE certification, do we get that later? Like, do we get an email with
Oh.
it later?
It should come immediately. So right after you submit the form, granted all of the information is correct, it should come immediately.
Oh, I didn't get it. Should I redo it?
If it doesn't come in the next 10 minutes, and yeah, try to redo it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.